All right, we're going to discuss the database module. So databases are very similar, well, at least in this module, to how you work with and build a dictionary. Now, the main difference is the database is more made up of bytes than just strings or integers or objects. It's like byte arrays. We'll discuss that in a later video, but for now, just call it data. On top of that, it's permanent. So, you call out a dictionary, you load it in the memory, you work with it, you close your program, the dictionary is usually gone unless you output it to a file. Here, the database itself persists, and we'll see that. So we're going to import the database module. We're going to use the open method. We're going to give it a name of captions with the mode of create, C. And you see that we don't have any captions files here yet. So we'll create the database. Well, let's do that first. So I'll say import DBM. So we have that module imported. We'll call our database variable name DB equals DBM, calling the module, the method of open, and we'll give it a captions, and we'll give it the create mode and hit enter. Then we'll go back to our files and see if it created it. Sure did. Has a .dat file, which is usually data. So we'll flip back to here. Well, it's an empty database right now because we just created it. So let's add a line. And we're going to call on our database by name. Database, similar to a key in a dictionary, and then equals this value. Cool. We did that. Right? We're going to add another one. We're going to add another value. So we should have two key values in our database, right? And how you access the item is you call on your database, then you call on the item by name, and you'll get back the value, which in a B, which is a byte, right? A bytes object, and photo of John Cleese. Okay, cool. So that's helpful. Well, if we want to change data, we'll say this, and we'll say a photo of John Cleese with a silly walk. More detailed, right? Go to end, hit enter, and we'll call on Cleese again. And now, what happened there? A photo of JC with a silly walk. It updated from this value, the old value, to the new value. So the data item itself now has a new definition. Cool. So we accessed items, so we changed items, we did all this. Okay, now iteration, right? Because we have more than one item in this database. Well, awesome thing is there's a difference between a dictionary and a database is the item doesn't work, but for loops do. So you could say for key in our database, and we could say print, and what we have here, we have print key, then we call on the database, and then we call on each key by name. All right, we'll hit enter, and now we have the key value pair. We have Cleese ping with the data, and same with Steve and the data. Awesome. Now databases are much like files. When you're done with them, you have to close them. So we call it our database, type close, hit enter. It's closed. To prove that, we could attempt to access DB Cleese, and we get an error saying that database object has already been closed. Awesome. Tons of use cases for this, especially if you need to deal with larger amounts of data. I leverage these often by dumping them to leveraging heavy amounts of logs. And after I parse the logs and get the dictionary or the list I want, I may throw them to a database for later reference just to store the data. And it's extremely fast, extremely efficient. Let's take a look at the files it creates. So it creates a dat, a dir, and a back. when you copy these, you take them all together. So just keep that in mind as well. And that's it for the DBM module.